And welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another week, to another edition of the Korean StarCraft League, week number 8. I'm, of course, your host, ZvP, and with me, I will later be joined by the Asherbro. Asherbro will join me later on in a couple of hours. Until then, I have you all to myself. Oh. But welcome to the second broadcast of the day. We were live earlier in the morning with ESL Open Cup Americas, and now here we are with KSL. Another replay cast. Those wondering, KSL did go live, I believe, on Saturday, not too long ago, a couple of days ago. Alas, we were not able to broadcast it live here on the CranKy Ducklings, but that all changes here and now. We are here to once again dive into another week of KSL, and I did stay away from it. I didn't get spoiled. I don't know what happens. I have no idea, and we're all gonna bear witness together. And as you can already see, we do have our first matchup of the day as well. We casted Scarlett earlier today in ESL Open Cup Americas, and she looked damn good against Trigger. She 2-0'd Trigger like it was nothing. It was crazy. Some crazy games, to be fair. Some unorthodox maps as well. But really impressive stuff already. We also saw her go up against Byun as well with mixed success. But she's still in that grind, you know. Shout out to players like Scarlett, players like Dark, Byun. Week after week, they show up here in these tournaments to perform for the people. And for the money, but for the people, for themselves as well, as they're looking to improve as we near ever closer to ESL Masters. It is right around the corner as well. And I'm really excited about this first series because I'll be honest, I was deliberating if I should cast it. I was like, I was given a list of replays. Shout out to Chicken Man and Dave Testa for providing them. And I was on the fence. I was like, do I want to cast this? And then in the end, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it. For those who don't know Gemini, maybe I should update the team here a little bit. Gemini has been a long-standing community member in the StarCraft scene for a very, very long time. Gemini is in charge of, or he's like one of the big contributors to all things Protoss over on Reddit. And he also makes Reaper Cliff, or I guess PVT Reaper Cliff like guides on maps whenever there's a new map pool. Like, he does a lot for the StarCraft Protoss scene specifically. I want to say he has a website. I can't remember what it's called, but he has a website as well where he would upload guides and make guides regarding or helping out Protoss players out there. So he's one of the great minds, you know, behind a pretty big part of StarCraft, to be fair. The other big thing, of course, is that he's living in Korea. He moved to Korea a couple of years ago now because he's a massive StarCraft fan, obviously. And he, I believe, is currently the social media manager for Onside Gaming. So, again, he's a man of many hats. He's done a lot in his career of contributing to the StarCraft scene, but right now he is, of course, in charge of Onside Gaming. So if you ever see like memes, like Solar or Maru related memes on Twitter, that's Gemini. that's him, Papi. That's him. He does do quite a good job, I would say. Quite a good job at, you know, being the social media manager, and does quite a lot for his team as well. So it's great to see him contributing even more here to StarCraft. And oh boy, that now the big question is, how good is his play? As he's gonna be going up against Scarlett. Let's go, Papi, let's go. As I quickly just set some things up here. And we're gonna be diving into our first series of the night, and it's gonna be Scarlett versus Gemini. Oh, right, that was the other. How could I forget, Papi? Gemini, he was also famously the #1 Trap fan. Oh, of course. I mean, it's all coming back. He actually used to be a Hero fan before that. Fun fact. Team Liquid's Hero, not CJ Enter's Hero. He had a little bit of beef going on. As I'm currently waiting for StarCraft to show? Question mark? Hello? Hold on. One moment here. One moment. StarCraft, please. What's going on, Papi? What's going on? Okay, I apologize for cutting the duct tape short. I don't know what the hell just happened, but everything, it's okay, Papi. It's okay, don't worry about it. Because loading in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the South Korean, residing in Korea, to be fair, but we have the Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, technically representing Onside Gaming, the social media manager for Onside Gaming, we have the American Protoss, the Teal Protoss. It is Gemini. Let's go, Bobby. Let us go. And I was just about to go into a tirade as well. Back in the day, back in Wings of Liberty, for those who remember that era that were around, Gemini was a massive Team Liquid hero fan, which is a Korean Protoss player that has since retired. And there used to be a bit of a rivalry between hero and hero. There's the CJ Entis hero, which you're familiar with. He's currently on CranKy Gaming, the best Protoss in the world. And then there's hero with a capital H, not a lowercase h, capital H. And Gemini was a massive hero fan, simped pretty hard for him. In a good way, Number one fan for hero. And of course, over time, hero did step away from the game. Hero retired, and Gemini found a new love, a new second home, if you will, and that was Trap. Trap kind of became his new number one player, and for a long time, it was a lot of fun. Gemini would have his portrait next to his bed, and he would kiss sleep for good luck every night. But yeah, he was always there for Trap, and it was great to see. Since then, alas, Trap has retired, but it's great to see that despite that, Gemini still does rock the Trap portrait in-game. It's really cool to see. A bit of a blast from the past. It's kind of hard to believe, but I'm sure there are players that are, or viewers, sorry, that are getting into StarCraft now that are unfamiliar with even Trap. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, who the hell's this other hero? Like, what two heroes? What are you talking about? And on top of that, even more recently, like, who is Trap? What do you mean? Does that mean Trap Heal's one of the best Protoss in the world? Shout out to Jin Air Trap. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, like, how long this game has been around, the different eras that we've had, the legacy, the history, the players that have gone through this, retired, come back, retired again, gone to the military. For those wondering, I believe Trap is currently he's currently serving his military service. I believe a couple of years ago, not too long ago, like maybe 1 or 2 years ago. So he's currently doing that. Will he return to StarCraft once that's done? Maybe. We'll see. We shall see, as we're going to be getting into this here. And again, Gemini, massive Scarlett fan as well, I'm sure. He's a pretty good player in his own right. That's why he can make builds. I believe he has hit GM on the Korean ladder, so it's definitely worth his spot here in KSL. He's played in GSL qualifiers as well, but how does he perform against Scarlett? Because I'm already getting some flashbacks here. Pretty standard openers, hatchery gas pool from Scarlett. We have a third hatchery on the way here on Neo Humanity. Meanwhile, Gemini is going for a Stargate opener. Trap, known for his Stargate play, but in current meta, things are a little bit different here. Gemini, though, is opening up pretty standard. First Oracle is going to be zooming across the map. We're going to try to find some damage. Meanwhile, ooh, Roach Warren already being thrown down. Not too early. I think this was around 3 minutes 40-ish. Roach Warren thrown down more for safety than anything. But we'll keep an eye on that drone count. We'll see if Scarlett does decide to saturate her bases and drone up further. Meanwhile, the Oracle dips in. And, ooh, there is no Spore in position here. So a couple of drones are going to be focused down. But not the best target firing here. The Queen does soak some damage. And only 2 drones fall. Could have been a lot worse. Again, Scarlett wasn't really in position with her queens at the time, as at the same time you have a couple of depths heading in towards that third base. So all in all, 4 drones going down. We shade, we commit to the shade, we go into the natural as well, and Gemini is doing a lot of damage. Oh my god. Meanwhile, the queens are a little bit preoccupied trying to keep up with these oracles, but the target firing is insane. Despite the initial oracle harass not doing too much, 8 drones go down to the adepts. Very nicely done. Behind this, we're staying on 2 base. Oh my god. This is something that I am not familiar with. But there we go. We're going for a 2 base all-in follow-up. Off of the Stargate opener, we have some Immortals on the way. We have 4 gates, 6 gates in total. We're going for a pseudo Soul Train. Gemini, he is pretty old school. This does make a lot of sense here. With a modern twist, I should say, with the triple Oracle opener, this is made to look a little bit standard and get map control. But upon seeing these sentries and the Stalker, this is a massive tell here. Scarlett is aware that something is amiss, something is wrong, and I'm sure she's going to be making use of this Roach Warren. There we go, Roach Speed is now on the way. This third base is thrown down, but very late here for Gemini, and I don't really think he intends to saturate it. We already have that Prism on the way. The gateways are about to finish up. We do have a scout coming into the main base, though, and Scarlett sees everything. She sees the gateways. Hasn't confirmed the robo though, so she's missing a little bit of crucial information, but regardless, she knows how delayed this third base is. She knows that she needs an army. And here we go. We have our sentries, we have our immortals, we have our upgradeless, blinkless stalkers. As we head on towards that third base location, Ravagers are on the way, but before they finish up, Gemini's going to be able to dive on top of them. One Ravager going to be going down, Force Field to throw down his ult to try and trap them. Looks like he will get 2. The third will survive. The Queens target down every single one of those Oracles. And sure, we may have killed some of those Ravagers, but what about everything else? Scarlett is able to just completely shut this down. Oof. Gemini does hold on to his high-tech units. He does hold on to his Immortals at least, but we needed to do more damage than that. We barely touched the economy. Scarlett, she's on 62 workers. She's taking a 4th base, taking a forward base, and she wants to be the aggressor now. We see the Rooks about to be knocked down. Infestation Pit on the way behind this. Interesting choice. I think this is really smart because she saw the Robo opener. I mean, she didn't see the Robo, but she saw the Immortals, which means it would make logical sense if we had Disruptors coming up behind this, if we had a fast bay. And a good way to shut down Disruptors is to take it to Hive, is to take it to Vipers. Before that happens, here we go, Scarlett's pushing on forward here. We do have an overcharge, is going to be able to hold the line, is going to force Scarlett back for the time being. Gemini is able to hold on for now, but we need more shield batteries. We have a second shield battery and a cannon on the way. We still only have 1 Immortal as well, which is I'm a little bit surprised by. I mentioned it earlier, I would have thought that maybe Gemini would have teched into a bay, but would have teched into a bit of a higher tier of tech. But Scarlett has other things in store for us. With that infestation bit, we're not going into a hive. We don't need the hive right now. She's aware of that. She knows that we mainly have a stalker army. Why not go for Swarm Host? We saw Swarm Host earlier in the day with Eric versus Gumiho. You love to see it, and now we're seeing it here a second time against Protoss. It can be a little bit risky to pull this off against Blink Stalkers because Blink Stalkers are very mobile, and Gemini is going to be looking to hunt down these Swarm Hosts. They are spotted now by the Observer, and there is that base still in production. A little bit late here for Gemini. Do we have enough roaches to hold the line? Here we go, the Locust Wave is going to be going off. We do have a blink to avoid them. Force fields as well. Nicely done by Gemini. Going to be able to keep those sentries and Immortals alive. Meanwhile, we have the second overcharge as well, and once again, we are going to be forcing Scarlett back, but at the same time, oh, the wall was not a wall. Gemini was holding quite well here at the third base. The things, they flood into the natural. They flood into the main base. Probes are falling left and right. We missed it. Gemini missed it. Everything is on fire right now. And even if he holds on to his third, he has lost everything else. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my god. 28 probes in total. You see Gemini trying to dive on top of those Swarm Hosts, but doesn't even get one. Is barely able to survive. We have another Locust Wave coming out. Ooh. And again, they're not going to really trade too officially now, but over time they do gain value here. They're getting into the mineral line. They're getting on top of the Stalkers as well. Again, there's still only a single Immortal. Ah! Disruptor is coming out, and oh my god, that is a juicy connection. Even with that, it's still not enough. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my god, the Biles connect there with 3 of those Stalkers. Another Locust Wave coming in. GG gets called, and Scarlett will take game number 1. Oh, GG. With a bit of an old school build from Gemini. You don't see these Sentry Immortal based two base all-ins too often anymore. They're very out of fashion in current meta, but it was great to see him bring it back a little bit again off of an Oracle opener as well. You love to see it. You love to see it. I do appreciate it. Oh. As we're going to be getting ready for our second game. She did that on purpose. Yes. As we're going to be loading into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion, currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. It is Scarlett. Oh my god. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Gressvan, we have the American Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, asking for mercy, asking for less units and less creep. Smooch. Representing Onside Gaming, it is Gemini. Again, Gemini, good friends with a lot of the foreigners, especially the foreigners that were living in Korea, because Gemini is there as well. They would often hang out and meet up, go to GSL to watch it together, for example. So yeah, just a little bit of banter between friends. And we'll see if Scarlett obliges Gemini here. I mean, Scarlett, was her creep spread that insane? I guess. I mean, Neo Humanity does accentuate that a little bit, right? Because it is a small map. This is where she goes for like a creep highway or something. Just waddles queens across the map. Oh, don't clown on him, Papi. Don't smooch Gemini. We'll see what happens. As we get into our hatch gas pool opener here from Scarlett, everything's looking quite normal. Gemini just confirming that here across the map, making sure that everything is on the up and up. And we'll see what Gemini goes for, because again, typically it's the Protoss player that dictates the pace of the game. Last game we saw Stargate into a 2-base all-in off of Immortals and Sentries. Again, very Soul Chain-esque. We'll see what happens here in game number 2. What Gemini decides to go for. I imagine another Stargate opener, but off of that, you know, the world is his oyster. We shall see. Well, again, the probe is just going to be forced back. Just going to be a little bit annoying here, checking the third base location. See if it's already been thrown down, maybe even forcing a delay if possible. And yeah, we'll be getting eyes on that, confirming no weird 2-base all-in from Scarlett either. And Gemini? GGE Mini. Gemini has opted to go for the Stargate instead. Or, sorry, Stargate once again. An interesting location. I appreciate this as well. We have the pylon on the high ground, Stargate thrown down on the low ground. So a little bit more difficult to scout at times. Love to see it. And we should be getting another Oracle opener. But the question is, how many Oracles? 1, 2, do we go up to 3? Do we go more than 3? And do we get a third base? That's going to be the important question here. Oh. Oh no. Oh no, Gemini, don't do it, Papi. We do have a Void Ray first, which, you know, it's okay going a Void Ray first. It is to clear out these overlords, and we can go into an Oracle behind it. But when I think of Gemini, when I think of old school play, there's no way he would like invest into multiple Void Rays, right? We're not going back to 2021, are we? I hope not. Well, here we go. The first Void Ray is going to be coming out just to clear out those overlords, and there we go. We do have an Oracle behind it, thankfully. So this Void Ray is just designed to keep Scarlett in the dark. Nothing too crazy from here. We did still invest into Warp Gate, still only on 2 gases as well. And shout out to Gemini, he is setting up for a third. Beautiful. So more macro-oriented game here in game number 2. Love to see it. Behind this, Scarlett also is going to be responding in a pretty standard fashion. We are just droning here on 3 bases. We have our queens getting into position to defend our third and our main as well. And there is that Evo chamber, most likely for +1 melee. Again, Scarlett doesn't know exactly what the follow-up is, but she did confirm the 3rd base, the 3rd CC. So with this, she knows it's going to be into Oracles. It's going to be into a Twilight Council. We're good to drone. Oof. Meanwhile, Gemini's Oracle has been having a hard time finding damage. Does dip in between the bases, but doesn't really get doesn't really get too much here. Takes a lot of hull damage. Oh, smooch. Does get 1 drone kill though. You love to see it. But this is what I mean. Like, they're good friends. They're bantering, man. They're bantering. Oh no. Not Hapsaya. The Oracle, yeah, is going to be forced to stay here in the corner of the map. Meanwhile, we do see a bit of a transition. Gemini is opting not to go into Blink. Interesting. We're going straight into Charge instead. +1 charge on the way. And on top of that, we are going to be prioritizing our tech, going straight into that Templar Archive. So initially, Gemini isn't really going to have too much map presence. He's going to be stuck at home, saturating his 3rd base. But eventually, he's going to be able to ramp up here into a massive Charge Archon composition. Just takes a while to get going. And because of that, Scarlett is free to double expand and free to drone. The Oracle dipping back in for some more damage. Oh no! No, Papi. Didn't quite get that 2nd drone. That was painful to watch, to be honest. Oracle goes down. It's okay. It's okay, Papi. Don't worry about it. We're fine. We don't need no Oracles where we're going. We need Chargelets and Archons. Don't worry about it, Papi. Don't worry about it. It's just a bug. Behind this, Infestation Pit is thrown down for Scarlett. Again, has been able to drone up pretty heavily. We could even drone up to 80 at this point, to be honest. Is going to be stopping here at 76. A pretty respectable amount. And there we go. Gemini is going to be pushing on forward. We were talking about it earlier. It takes a while to really ramp up. He did give Scarlett a lot of map control until now. Until now, where we have our Zealots, we have our Archons, we're pushing on forward, laying siege upon this forward 4th base. Chain's Fuse is going to be able to keep this alive. Here come the reinforcements. Banelings are rolling on in. Oh, and it looks like the 4th base is going to be held. The Adepts do shade in towards the natural, and we saw that they did do a lot of damage in game number 1. And even here as well. Oh my god, the target fire. Scarlett just leaving those Lings a little bit idle, and 5 drones go down. Not bad. Not bad at all. And the other important thing is that looking at the units lost tab here, Gemini didn't lose any of his Archons. He moved out with Zealots, of course, and did lose some of them, but we can afford to burn some minerals. It's okay. It's okay. Something we can afford to lose. Behind this, we have our Bay on the way for Disruptors or Colossi. Pick your poison. And Scarlett, I mean, she's pretty content with where she is. I was talking about droning up to 80 earlier, and Scarlett, she does one better. She drones up to 96. Ay. That's a lot of drones. That's maybe too many drones, but it's fine. Scarlett, she's fully saturated here on her 5 bases. Not really prioritizing taking additional gases. Doesn't need them. Just going pure Lingbane. Lingbane, we've got the Hive on the way. We're going to be taking into Adrenal Glands. We're now going to be taking more gases, so we should be seeing some more tech thrown down as well. Whether it's going into Hydra Lurker, we could be going into Ultras. Speaking of, there it is. Ultra Cavern is thrown down, so Lingbane into Ultra, and this is something that you can do when you have this much freedom available to you as a Zerg player. Like, you've been able to be pretty damn greedy overall, droning up to 97, getting a 6th base, having map control, and not really having any concern to morph in too many Banelings and defend back at home. Speaking of, Protoss players may want to look away soon. Because what's about to happen to this base is not pretty. It's not suitable for Twitch. Oh no. Oh god. The Banelings are rolling. How many Banelings do we have here? We have 42 Banelings. They're gonna roll on in. from both sides. There is no way out. We just go straight for the planetary. We don't even care. Oh my god. And even here, we trade relatively well against those zealots. Gemini knocked down to 3 base economy. We could do it again. We're not going to, but we could. And here we go. Gemini is going for a massive counterattack. Pretty all in. The Ling run by is going to be able to cancel this 4th base once again. This is going to be a pretty hefty army. We've got a lot of Archons available. We've got 2 Disruptors, 8 Archons. This 4th base should be going down, but there are Ultras on the way. Oh, the Banelings targeting those Zealots. Nice connections overall. We do have another wave of Banelings on the way. We have the Queens pushing on forward. The Ultras are here. These Ultras should be renamed to Immortals because with all those transfuses, they are not going to die. They should not die. Oh. The transfuses are real. 3 Ultras going to force us back. The Ling's coming for a surround as well. There is no way out. And GG gets called. Scarlett takes game number 2 and the series. Oh, GG. Oh, shout out to Gemini. It was great to see him play again. He recently started streaming maybe a week ago or so after a bit of a hiatus. So great to see him return here and even playing in some KSLs. Like back in the day, he used to play in the Olima Leagues whenever he could. And congratulations to Scarlett, of course. She was coming in here as the favorite and is able to flex her skills a little bit, have some fun, going Ling Bane all the way into Ultra. Something you don't see too often in ZvP, but always a treat to watch. Always a treat. Scarlett does take the series and moves on to the next round. And I hope she's warmed up. I hope she is warmed up because, as I was saying earlier, we saw her have a really convincing series against Trigger earlier in the morning. Here, she 2-0s Gemini, but now we have another Protoss ahead of us. Scarlett is going to be moving on to face Stats. Oh. Oh, let's go, Poppy, let's go. The Shield of Ire has returned. Stats fighting, Poppy. Oh, let's go, let's go. Stats, of course, he did go to the military, but recently came back maybe a month ago? Maybe over a month ago at this point. Did come back to competitive play and has been streaming quite a bit, has been laddering, participated in the GSL qualifiers. We even casted the GSL qualifiers and saw Stats make it into Code S, which was really impressive. It was a lot of fun to watch. You can check out our YouTube channel or our Twitch VODs even. We casted Stats versus Creator and in a pretty solid PvP. Stats was looking really damn good. We haven't really seen too much of Stats against Terran or Zerg, so when it comes to that, he's a little bit more of an enigma, but at least in PvP, he's looking really good.